So your support to the conference and FAP is of great value for us and IIITA. Now, I request Professor Pitra Chandra from from IIT Delhi to please moderate the session. Thank you so much. Ma'am.
Yes, I hope you can hear me. Vineet, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you.
Okay, I would also like to share the screen at some point, and maybe I can do that before I start. So I'll try to share it. Do I have the permission to share my screen?
Yes, ma'am, you can share your screen like you do
Okay,
for your class teaching and all.
just give me a second.
You don't need any additional access from our side.
Okay, can you see this?
Yes, we can see this. Okay. NEP 2020 on HEIs.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, thank you, Professor Purohit and Professor Tiwari and the entire organizing team of this conference for having us here. Also, congratulations on organizing this event so well. I also welcome all my fellow panelists. I'm not very sure how many have been able to join. This is a hybrid event, so obviously there are limitations pertaining to issues that over which we don't have much control. But I hope all of you have been able to join, and then we have some more people who are just here to listen to us and also to engage in the discussions that will happen after this. So also thanks for asking me to moderate. Let me very quickly talk about the way Vinita and I would like to plan out the discussion. So we will we would like to have a lot more discussion in the sense, kind of a brainstorming sessions. But before that, we would like to hear from each of the panelists. Some of them have not been able to join us for various reasons, but we have some faculty members from IIIT Allahabad and some from various other institutions of the country who will be speaking. And we are hoping that we will be able to give at least 12 to 15 minutes per panelist, but it could be a little bit more also. I may raise my hand just to give you an indication of how much time is left. So if you can see your screen, so that will be one way to understand that you may have to wrap up in a few minutes. But given that the group is not that huge, and given that we are here to discuss or have a kind of informal discussion amongst us, we may be a little more flexible. And the term flexible is quite interesting here because it is the defining or the core concept that we are discussing here. But I mean flexible here in a slightly different way, that we will be able to be a little more flexible with timing. So if there are people who would like to get a little bit more time, please feel free. But we would definitely like to leave a little bit of time towards the end so that we have some discussion amongst us instead of just hearing us out speak on individual issues. So let me begin. So Vineet has anyway talked about what could be the directions that we take in this particular conference, specifically for panel number 3. But what I intend to do over the next, again, 12-15 minutes is to just place this whole discussion about the flexible academic program against some of the guidelines that are placed in the NEP. So some of them may sound overlapping. They may appear to overlap with what Vineet has already discussed, and apologies for that. This is a presentation that I had also made before some faculty members in IIT Delhi, and we kind of have a consensus that this is one way of looking at things. And I would like to use this also as a kind of backdrop against which today's discussion can be placed. There are not many slides, but and some of them I'll just skim through, and some of them I may spend a little bit more time because they may seem to be more closely related to what we have as part of the core theme of the discussion today. So one of the things all of you know is that the NEP 2020 or any education policy in any country is essentially to remove disparity. That is the ideal goal. And this particular NEP 2020 document is also placed against the Sustainable Development Goal of the United Nations Development Program. And I'm not going to read through the entire quote here, but one thing that you can see is that achieving one primary goal of this entire document or policy is to achieve inclusive and quality education for all. And this is definitely very crucial to our country, where there are still a lot of disparities related to region, related to various social factors or variables like caste.
Ma'am, can you make it full screen, please?
I will try.
Control L.
Control L. No, I'm using Mac. Let me see, view. Maybe full screen? Can you see it now?
Command L.
Command L. No, it doesn't work. Can you see it now? Is it visible now?
Ma'am, you can close the right-hand side window.
Yeah, I know. For some reason that is not appearing. Slide only. Let
Okay.
me try this. Okay, can you see it now?
Yeah, ma'am. Actually, yeah, okay.
Is this okay, or should I zoom in?
I think Viniji, it's okay. Let ma'am continue.
Okay, okay, ma'am.
I
Please,
will,
I think
yeah,
it's
I mean,
okay.
text is not that crucial because I will be discussing some of these, and I really hope that I will be able to scroll down now. Okay, let me see.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
ma'am.
so
It's okay. I think it was not actually properly visible, but then it's okay. You can go
yeah,
ahead, ma'am. Please.
the problem, Vineet, is that I have a problem with scrolling through these slides if I just put it on.
Okay, ma'am. No issue. Whatever you are comfortable with, please.
Yeah, just give me a moment. Just give me a moment. There is a problem because now I can't go to the next one. For some reason, I now can't go to the next slide. Yeah, let me navigate like this. I'm sorry, but just to make sure that I have the
Yes, ma'am.
slides.
Whatever you are comfortable with, ma'am. Please, you go ahead.
Yeah, I'll try to zoom in. Though this is not the best thing to do, right?
No, no, ma'am. Then you will lose
Yeah.
the content.
Okay, I will read out. I will read out,
Yes,
but
yes,
I'm not going to
yes,
read
ma'am.
out everything. So, okay. So anyway, so Vineet has kind of led us through all these 9 points that are there specifically
No, ma'am.
for.
Whatever you want, you can please go ahead. No
Sure,
issue at
sure.
all. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I'm on the slide. I'm on the slide. So Vineet has
Yeah.
already led us through some of the objectives or some of the vision that the NEP 2020 has for higher education institutions. And you can see in bold, there is multidisciplinarity. There is also about universities and colleges, multidisciplinary UG education, revamping curriculum, pedagogy, assessment, student support. And this text is directly extracted from the NEP 2020 document, right? So I'm not I'm not garnering or I'm not trying to infer anything from here. This is essentially the facts that are given there. I mean, the kind of objectives that are stated in the document itself. And of course, this establishment of National Research Foundation. The primary objectives, to my understanding, now I'm extracting out or inferring out from the 9 objectives that are given there for higher education institution. These are, to my understanding, the primary objectives that the NEP 2020 has for higher education institutions. One is restructuring and consolidation. The second is regulatory system. The third is about the people who teach, so the faculty and the incentives we should have for them. The fourth is about degrees and pedagogy. So this is more from the perspective of the students so that they stay in the system and then they are able to get the optimal output or optimal results from the system. And the third is about internationalization at home. And this is a very crucial factor, a very crucial point that is included in the NEP 2020 for higher education institutions. Okay, so leading through this, one, as I told you, is restructuring and consolidation. So this whole idea is that since we have quite a bit of fragmentation in the education sector, we have technical universities, we have deemed universities, we have universities and technical colleges. So the best thing, or one of the objectives of the NEP 2020 is to restructure, make sure that there is only one kind of structure, and then we have this uniformity across the nation. And they call it MERU, which is Multidisciplinary Education and Research University. And the idea is to have these MERUs established all over the country. And so the university system will then be seen as a continuum which covers a spectrum of institutions, starting from research intensive universities and going to teaching intensive universities. And the third will be the autonomous degree granting colleges, right? And these HEIs or the MERUs will also discharge other responsibilities like supporting the emerging HEIs and also support school education, which is a very crucial factor that is mentioned time and again in the NEP 2020 document. So if one talks about the FAP consortium, and this is where I'm trying to relate to what IIIT Allahabad has in mind. If one tries to relate this particular point to the FAP consortium, the FAP consortium essentially, to my understanding, from what I understand, is about creating a kind of mega university with already well-established institutions like NITs and IIITs and IITs come under one umbrella term. So it is kind of a new idea, and one has to obviously work it out thoroughly and see if this really goes or aligns well with the idea of a Meru. And whether there is also going to be a hierarchy of institutions, whether some of them will be more research intensive, some of them will be more teaching intensive, and so on and so forth, right? So this is something that I particular to me comes to my mind, is that we need to be cognizant of the fact that there are certain concepts given in NEP 2020, and whatever we propose should be on track or should at least be discussed aligned to the NEP 2020 guidelines. A regulatory system, again, Vineet has talked about very quickly. The whole idea is that once you have this Meru kind of system, Meru kind of institutions, you would also like to have some kind of a regulatory body. And one of the proposals is to have the Higher Education Commission of India, and which will govern all activities of all HEIs, all higher education institutions. And there will be essentially 4 functions run by 4 verticals of the HESI. So the first vertical will look at the entire regulation of all activities. The second will be about accreditation. The third will be about grants, funding. And the fourth will be about standard setting, academic standard setting. So again, as soon as you propose something like a uniform, or at least all these institutions coming together and creating a FAP, you need to be mindful of the fact that you also have to make sure that you know what rules and regulations the FAP has to adhere to or has to ascribe to. And the rules will, of course, be set by the government and its proposal for these new institutions. Okay. Faculty incentives, obviously, as soon as you have something like a virtual institution or running the FAP, you also need to think about who the stakeholders are. And one of the stakeholders, of course, are the faculty members who are going to teach. And you can see, I'm not going to go through each of these points, but the NEP 2020 very clearly says that every institution must have a clear institutional development plan, which is where you discuss what kind of faculty members you want, what are their academic achievements, what kind of incentives you want to give them, how do you make sure that many of these faculty members who have those kind of leadership qualities are also pulled up the rank and given those responsibilities. So all of these are part of the NEP 2020 document. So the moment you put the FAP under on the table, you have to make sure that these kind of questions also are addressed. Another very important issue taken in with regard to the research and the quality of education or quality of research undertaken by our faculty members is the establishment of the proposed National Research Foundation, which is called NRF, the acronym for that. And the idea is that research will be funded throughout. There won't be any distinction between disciplines or between institutions, as long as they have some kind of validity as a research topic, they will be funded. And this is another thing, that if you think that the creation of an FAP consortium is going to create a common ground on which people can come together from many institutions, and then also create an environment where faculty members come together and do research, and then the kind of funding that is available. So these are again questions that one has to take up. The fourth point, which is I think most crucial to what Vineet was also saying, is about the multiple, the exit entry, multidisciplinarity, and so on and so forth. And this is primarily from the perspective of the students, because we do know that there are dropouts. We do know that many of our younger generation are not as well educated, not as skilled. So there is a lot of emphasis in the NEP to create holistic education. And this whole section is essentially about that, where they talk about even engineering institutions like the IITs, which have which have served the nation in a particular domain for a long, long time. And then, of course, they're flanked by the IIITs, NITs, and many other institutions of repute. They should also move towards more holistic education and multidisciplinary education. And the linkages between these disciplines should be diluted. I mean, they should be actually be enhanced, and the divides should not be that so rigid that you cannot see across those divides. And this, by the way, is true for all levels, not just undergraduate, but even masters and even PhD. And this is exactly what is being mentioned here in the slides, that you have multiple exit entry points, which allow the students to leave after a certain point and then come back. And then the kind of degrees they get, whether they get a certificate, whether they get a diploma, a bachelor's degree, or something like a degree with research after 4 years, all of these flexibilities should be there so that students can get the requisite skills. They can go back to the market, and once they need to come back to have more skills, to reskill themselves, they also have that opportunity. And there is a seamless connection, a seamless progression that goes from the bachelor's to the master's to the PhD. And this is what you see when you look at the way the masters have been developed. So even the masters can be a connection from, or can be an extension from, the bachelor's. The 4th year bachelor's can then lead to a 1-year master's, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to go through the details and bore you with the details, because I'm sure all of you know them. But how do you do it? And that is where the idea of an academic bank of credit comes in. And I think there is already some progress that has been made by the government in creating an academic bank of credit. PhD students also, there's a lot of emphasis that even PhD students should have more holistic education. And as academics, of course, we can put in some thought over there whether this is the right step, but definitely some kind of holistic education will also help them have multiple skills, which makes them more employable in the market. Okay, and this, of course, you know that all HEIs should move, the kind of examinations you should have, again, should be much more flexible, should make sure you assess the students or the participants' knowledge, conceptual knowledge. And the last thing, which is very important, and maybe when the FAP takes off, or even while you're preparing for the FAP, you should look at this very carefully, is that there is special mention of taking care of the interests of socioeconomically disadvantaged groups, whether that group includes women, whether that group includes religious minorities, or people coming from regionally backward areas. All of these issues do need to be taken care of. The last point, and this is my last slide here, and that's basically internationalization at home. And this is very crucial, because what the NEP 2020 does is understand the education sector as one of the many sectors which can place the nation at a certain place, right? So you have various other sectors as well, but education should also be one of those domains which attracts people from outside, which helps us make the nation appear visible, or make it visible to the entire world. So internationalization at home is also very important. Not only is there emphasis in the NEP 2020 document about creating campuses elsewhere in other countries, but also making sure that we create the right conducive environment for international students. And what international students from which countries, of course, that is completely up to the objective situations of our country, whether we look towards the east or towards the west or towards various portions of the west. That, of course, will be decided in due course. But this is an extremely important point. And again, going back, relating it to the FAP, I personally think that this is, again, one point that one needs to keep in mind, that if this is one of the primary focuses of the NEP 2020, then maybe while you prepare the FAP or FAP guidelines, you probably would want to keep this in mind. So the final point, just to summarize now, is what are the things that we can, or we should keep in mind while talking about the FAP? One is put the FAP discussion on track with the NEP 2020 guidelines for HEIs, higher education institutions. Secondly, when you propose something like an FAP consortium, what does it imply? Does it imply the creation of a proposed mega university? And does it align with the idea of a MERU, multidisciplinary and research, multidisciplinary education and research university? Third, what are the interactions, what should the constituent bodies look like under the FAP? Is as a hierarchy? What is a chain of mentorship, and so on and so forth? Also looking at what do the stakeholders, specifically the faculty members involved in the FAP, get out of this in terms of incentives, for example. The third, of course, is more in terms of from the perspective of students. Do they get the multiple exit entry point options? What kind of certificates are given? Does it skill them? Does it reskill them at various points, and so on and so forth? And finally, of course, we have the question about attracting or making these attractive, let's say, creating these programs, which also are very attractive to international students. So these are the 5 points which I thought may be useful and which will also help us relate whatever we are saying here together with the NEP 2020 discussion. So this is all from me. Now, what I'll do is unshare, first of all. Let me see if I can unshare. Yeah, for some reason, can you hear me, Vineet? For some reason, I don't know why my entire screen is not coming. So I'll have to check this out. So I don't know how to unshare now.
Ma'am,
Can
your
you-
entire screen is visible to us.
I know, but I want to unshare. That's exactly my worry. I want to unshare.
Just click on the share button.
Yeah, and that's not coming anymore.
Ma'am, this is a small window.
No, this is
Ma'am,
not.
I think
Can you
this is,
unshare on your side? I think there is an option where the
ma'am,
person
from our
opted-
side, it's not possible. I think unless you do it from your side. Okay, ma'am. Yes, it was
Yeah.
possible. Yeah.
So is it no?
Yeah,
Is
ma'am.
my screen not visible to you now?
Yes. Yeah,
Great.
now our screen is visible. Yeah. Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
So please go ahead, ma'am. Yeah.
Yes. So I have kind of done my job here as a
Yeah.
moderator, and from my very limited understanding of the NEP 2020, I have, from my limited reading of NEP 2020, I have put forward some questions, which, along with the ones that Vineet has already raised, can form the backdrop against which we place our discussion today. And of course, there will be questions coming from the panelists, so we will collate them and then build them up for further discussion. But let me begin by then inviting